Whoa, oh damn. I call bullshit on that. Hello everybody, welcome to Creative Gaming, the show where we inject a bit of RNG into our playthroughs, either for challenge purposes or just a new way to play the game. Phew, we're about to get serious today. Today's game is Demon's Souls, the first of the famous Souls games. First released on PS3 in 2009, it was remade for the PS5 in 2020. While most of the Souls games are available on many consoles and PC, Demon's Souls remains probably the most elusive Souls game, being a PlayStation exclusive. So we're going to dive into the crazy dead world of soul-devouring demons, just to cheer us up.
Dylan, did you say this is a Souls game? I thought you retired from the Souls series.
Well, yes, I actually did retire from this series, but now I'm doing this show, and I have an idea for a challenge run, so I thought it'd be a good idea to return.
Challenge run? You can barely beat these games by normal means.
Well, Negativio is kinda right. A few controllers have given their lives for these Souls games, but they're still very fun, immersive, and addicting. So anyway, here's the challenge I propose today. First of all, I will roll a die to determine my starting class. There are 10 classes total, so I'm gonna use a 12-sided die, or dodecahedron die.
Who says this show isn't educational?
So 1 to 10 will be the associated class, 12 is the wild card where I can choose the class, and I have nothing for 11 so it doesn't count, so I'm just gonna reroll if I get 11. So that'll determine my starting class, but I can still grow my class however I wish, so the starting class might not matter in the long run. I'll also roll this same die to determine my starting gift. Once I start the game, I'll have to beat the first level, Boletaria. Once I unlock the other levels, that's where the normal 6-sided die will come into play. I'll have to unlock the levels one at a time using the die. So rolling a 1 will return me to Boletaria, 2 will be the Stonefang Mines, 3 will be the Tower of Latria, 4 will be the Shrine of Storms, and 5 will be the Valley of Defilement, and 6 will be my wild card. I can unlock whichever level I want. There are 3 sections per level, so to finish an entire level I would have to roll the die to that level 3 times total. I can't go to any levels that I haven't unlocked with the die, however I am allowed to go back to any past levels, whether to grind for souls or collect items. I will allow myself one cheat or reroll. I'll explain more in the next video because I wouldn't be able to use it right now anyway. I can only use it once I unlock the other stages.
Are you sure you want to do this, Dylan? Remember why you have an emotional support animal in the first place.
Oh, Negativio, you worry too much. I'll be fine. Of course, I recommend you try this challenge as well. Whether you have the game for PS5 or need to dust off your PS3, this challenge works in either version. Alright, let's dive into the cursed kingdom of Boletaria. Let's create a character. First thing, I'm gonna roll for my class. Alright, I rolled a 2. That will be the knight class. Alright, so no magic to start with. We're not doing this challenge on easy mode, I see. We're doing this the old-fashioned difficult way, a melee character. Now I'm gonna roll for my starting gift. This won't matter a ton, but we'll roll for it anyway. A 9, that will be the Soul's Remains. Okay, that's not a very useful item, but whatever. It's kind of a luring item if I remember correctly. Now the appearance of the character. Wow, these don't look anything like me. I'm not gonna waste too much time here, I'll use one of the presets. Oh wow, looks like some possessed twink. He's done his hair well in this post-apocalyptic dead world. He does look cool. Okay, I think I'll go with this handsome fella. So we get a bit of backstory about a king who abused the power of souls and ruined his kingdom. These Souls games have very subtle storytelling. I will go to the tutorial. It's been a while, I need to brush up on my skills. So it's a fairly brief tutorial. The basic commands: R1 to swing your weapon, R2 for a stronger swing, two-hand your weapons, parry, etc, etc. One of the reasons these Souls games are so popular is because of the realistic combat. This isn't a game where you can just charge into a group of enemies and just spam your attack button. You'll get murdered pretty quickly. You have to sidestep, you have to block, you have to roll, wait for your opening and strike. It feels like realistic medieval combat. You also have a stamina bar that plays into it. Now we get to the boss. He usually just crushes you in one hit, then you're taken to the main hub of the game. It is possible to defeat this boss, and you get rewarded with a few items. I've actually never beaten this boss myself though. I always end up screwing up. Getting hit from this boss can drain your entire stamina meter if you don't get one shot. Ah shit, I'm dead. He hit me, I staggered, and he hit me again for the kill. We then appear at the Nexus, the main hub of the game. I've always loved the look of this game. When I think of Demon's Souls, I think of the realistic looking knight clad in shiny armor, and this game has a lot of darkness and golden colors and beige. This game just has a very cool look. I love it. So here we meet a few of the NPCs of the game. There aren't too many characters in this game, just maybe a dozen or so, not counting the bosses or enemies. But I mean the NPCs who can actually come to the Nexus. So there's only one level we can choose at this point, which is just as well. It's the easiest level in the game, and that's saying a lot. If you don't like this level, then you're not gonna like the rest of this game. I think we're going to need some extra buttons. It's a Souls game, so I should bring out the bullshit button.
What does that do?
Well, nothing really. But it's a button that feels great to press, especially when I call bullshit. I'm sure we'll get those moments.
Oh, just go with it, folks. Dylan likes to push buttons.
These Souls games definitely know how to make an impression, even if it's just showing a dragon flying around. Demon's Souls was definitely a fresh and new game when it came out. It was a modest release. I don't think a ton of advertisement had been made or anything. And people were intrigued. What is this game? You see that your character has a level, but you can't level up. But spoiler alert, you can level up after this stage. The difficulty took players off guard too. Even these early enemies, which are easy, but they can still shred you to pieces if you just charge in without much forethought. Once you arrive to the Nexus, your maximum hit points have been cut in half too. Players wondered what the hell is that about? By 2009, games were generally easier. After all, this was no longer the arcade era, where they purposely made games difficult to eat up your quarters. Most games were on home consoles, so games were generally more fair, more balanced, so players could beat them with a little practice. But once Demon's Souls and the first Dark Souls became successful, it told developers that there was still a market for challenging but engaging games. Alright, so obviously with this heavy armor, I have the fat roll. Fat rolling usually isn't recommended in these games. Your actions use up more stamina and enemies can flank you more easily. I believe there are 3 different rolls, the light roll, a normal roll, and a fat roll. You have a maximum capacity, and if you pass certain thresholds, you'll do a different type of roll. Advanced players usually play these Souls games naked because they like the quick roll. For this first level of Boletaria, fat rolling isn't too much of a problem, so I'll just keep it on for now. This game introduced simple but interesting mechanics, like messages. Players can leave messages for other players, whether warning them of upcoming danger, a strategy to use, or even just lying and lure the player into a trap. Here is another staple of the Souls series, going through doors, woo! The thing is, there are usually enemies on the other side, like duh, but you always have to expect the unexpected. Just because you only see 1 or 2 enemies, it doesn't mean that there aren't more enemies out of your peripheral vision. More enemies can jump down from a wall or crawl out of a hole. This series uses this type of trap over and over, and you can get overwhelmed pretty fast. Because of this, I end up tiptoeing throughout most of these games. You have to be smart, you have to be aggressive when you can, and you have to pull back when necessary. Here is an example of another trap, a boulder on top of these stairs. It also gives you access to a new weapon, the Bastard Sword. It's a decent weapon, though I won't equip it for now. There's a red-eyed knight there, but this knight is way above your pay grade. Unless you're an experienced player, you shouldn't even take this enemy on this early. These blue-eyed knights are not as strong as the red-eyes, but they still are more challenging to take down than the other common enemies in the area. They're vicious, they can block, and they can heal. Cut these chains here, it will release an item below. This is an example where leaving messages for other players can help. You might not think to swing your weapon the first time you reach this balcony. There are some hilarious moments from time to time, like this enemy falling off the stairs here, and those 2 enemies down there just set each other on fire and they vaporize themselves. It could be a lack of programming, or you can buy that these are undead type creatures with not much forethought to their actions. Both explanations are believable. This switch here, and we get our first accessory, and a very important one, the Cling Ring. With this item, your max hit points will be reduced to 75% instead of 50% when in soul form. In this game, you have a live version of your character and a soul form. If your character is alive, he has his full hit points. If he's in soul form, he has half his hit points, but I believe he can do a bit more damage. Oh, that looks a little high, but we can get down there. It's hard to gauge a drop that's safe and one that's fatal. Ah, crossbow. This gives us a long range option. Yes, happy birthday to you, dude. Get this dude here. Whoa, oh damn. I call bullshit on that.
No, Dylan, that's the wrong button.
Ah shit, not that button, this one.
Warning, bullshit alert.
You wasted your cheat, Dylan. Sucks to be you.
Oh, that didn't count, Negativio. I can't even use my cheat yet. This level is mandatory, so there's no way to skip it. Alright, so here we start again. All the enemies respawn, but you unlock shortcuts as you progress through the levels, so if you die, you have to take advantage of these. This is one of the appeals of these games. Designer Miyazaki was clever in designing levels with shortcuts. Many levels kinda loop into each other, where you think you're far inside a level, but then you unlock a door and you're like, wow, I'm at this location. You always have to be careful when you target your enemies, especially on these staircases. If they fall off while you swing your weapon, you could follow them down the pit to your death. Here, I made sure not to swing a third time. This dude again. Oh, I'm really rusty after 2-3 years. Some traps are pretty obvious, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. A bunch of explosive barrels in between you and this firebomb throwing enemy. Here we have one dumb little mechanic I don't like in this game. You can jump over this railing to get a special item, but there's no prompt or indication here that you can do so. In the tutorial level, there is a message that tells you you can jump certain railings by using the circle button. But as far as I can recall, these are the only 2 spots in this entire game that you can do this. You can also roll off the staircase to land on top of these railings, but why do that once you know you can just skip over it? Oh shit, I forgot about Ostrava. I'm sorry, Ostrava. He's a key character in this game. Damn, I might have just sent him to his death. This spot has a very important accessory, the thief ring. With this, enemies can detect you from a smaller radius than before. This even works on a couple of bosses. I'll try to save Ostrava. Damn, I want to help him, but I'm striking him too in the process. Phew, okay, we're good. At least it's not like the first Dark Souls, where if you even tap an NPC the wrong way, you're forever on their shit list. Oh, Ostrava's getting himself into trouble again. I better go to his rescue.
Now I take my leave.
Oh shit, Ostrava, you got killed by this little weakling? Oh my gosh, I totally screwed up that storyline. Damn. Oh well, it's too late now, I can't restart this whole game. Here we have a merchant. I think he sells spears. I generally like spears in this game. I won't buy it yet though. These knights are usually easier if you parry them, but parrying is always a mechanic I have trouble with. The timing is pretty precise, particularly in this game, and this enemy swings in different ways. He can swing from the left or right, or just lunge his weapon at you. I always have trouble with the timing. Here is an example of a trap you can spring onto enemies. A few enemies are cramped onto this path here, but this little shed holds some boulders. There are no indications that you can swing at the shed to release these boulders, but normally you can find messages on the ground that players have left to let you know. Another Looney Tunes moment. Here is a cool sight. You see 2 dragons in the distance. You can snag some goodies on this lower path. There are better items on the plateau above. You can get them if you're careful. You have to lure the red dragon away from its perch though. Ugh, I have over 3,000 souls. I don't really want to lose them. Here's an iconic part that has kind of become a cliche in the Souls universe. The bridge cliche. There's a dragon that surprises you when you get onto this bridge, and it fries the bridge and the enemies, so you have to react fast and run away if you don't want to get scorched. When you lure the dragon to this bridge, it gives you a little window to get some of the items on that field where the 2 dragons were. You gotta be quick though. If you're scared of crossing this bridge, one option is to get your character naked. This way he can run for a longer stretch before his stamina is depleted. So it does make crossing this bridge a little easier. Whoops, I forgot to hold up my shield there. Activate this switch, and now we open the main gate to the boss. But before taking on the boss, we'll return to the Nexus and see if we can upgrade our weapon. Alright, one upgrade. In this game, you gotta take every advantage you can get. Now we get to the first real boss of the game, Phalanx. It's an interesting boss, probably not something that players would expect at first. And I think this is where Demon Souls shines the most, its creative bosses. Essentially, Phalanx is a giant slime enemy. It's actually defenseless on its own, but it has a bunch of these hoplite enemies defending it. You don't want to just charge ahead without much forethought. The easiest way to fight this boss is to chug firebombs at it. You want to dwindle the number of hoplites as much as possible. You also want to be constantly moving because the hoplites can throw spears at you, so standing in one spot for too long is a bad idea. If you need to take a breather and heal, you can position yourself on the safe side of these pillars. Once you have fewer hoplites, or run out of firebombs, you can apply turpentine to your weapon, setting it on fire. Both the boss and enemies take more damage this way. I like this first boss because it's not too easy nor too difficult, and it conveys to the player that he has to use a bit of wit and strategy to take down these bosses. While I love the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring, but when it comes to the bosses, these ones in Demon Souls still rank as my favorites. So I'm fighting this boss basically in my underwear. I took off some gear so I wouldn't fat roll. If you destroy all of the hoplites, then Phalanx is by itself and it can't harm you on its own. It's an inoffensive pile of slime. And with that, our first demon is defeated. Our character also returns to life. We have full hit points now. We return to the Nexus. The maiden in black tells us we have to talk to the Monumental. I have to admit, the first couple of times I played this game, I had trouble finding this little dude. I actually had to look online to know where to find him. He's here with a candle, but otherwise he doesn't really stand out. He gives you some backstory about some creature known as the Old One, and 5 archstones, which each had their own rulers, and these are basically the different levels we will have to roll the dice to. We can also increase our levels now, finally. Before I jump to a new level, I will return to Boletaria to grind for more levels and collect items I may have missed. So I'm back to that spot with the 2 dragons. I thought the red dragon would be gone by now, and that I could collect the items. I guess he's still here. Maybe I have to go to the second part of this level for the dragon to be gone, but I'm not allowed to do that. I would have to unlock that second portion of the level with the die. Nope, he doesn't come to this bridge anymore either. Alright, I guess I can't get these items yet. I should have bitten the bullet and tried before I destroyed the boss. Alright, so I think I'll stop it here for today. I'll probably return to Boletaria off camera to grind and brush up on my skills. I'll probably need it. Like I said before, I can return to past levels, but I can't go to new ones until I unlock them with the die. Join me in the next episode while I'll roll to see which level I'll go to next. Phew, it'll probably be a difficulty spike. Things get harder from here on. Keep gaming everyone, and see you soon.